Hey everyone, it's John Brown, the one and only Bandana Gamer, coming to you today with a pickups video. This is kind of the things I've ordered and gotten offline during quarantine, and also some really cool gifts that people have sent me. And I just kind of wanted to show some of the things that have been added to the collection. Everything is something I'm really excited about. And before I do that, I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you to any and everyone protesting, educating, and in any form, whether you're on the streets or talking with friends or writing officials, congresspeople, elected city officials. Thank you. Thank you for being in the fight against systemic racism, police brutality. I know this is kind of a scary time right now, but I just wanted to say you're doing a great job. To friends who have for so many years felt that they have gone unheard, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. We will get better. And so I just wanted to take a moment and say that. If you don't like it, bite me. So let's get into the pickups. So this is a pickup. I've opened it up. I haven't looked inside of it yet. It comes from a really good buddy, 8-Bit Glitch, who his channel information will be down in the comment section below. So make sure to check out his channel. I just pulled it and saw what it was. But he sent me something, and I'm going to open it up. There's a cool note. I will read that later because, that's for me. But if you follow and look behind me and generally all around in my content, I'm a huge Uncle Scrooge fan. He sent me Disney, Donald Duck, and Uncle Scrooge comics. That's so cool. That is so cool. That's just, I love this stuff to no end, and this just makes my day. I love the comics of Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck way more than I actually like DuckTales, and I love DuckTales. But thank you, 8-Bit Glitch 79, for sending me those. You are an awesome, awesome dude. Alright, now, this is another set of gifts that a good buddy of mine, at Chris Meets World on Twitter. He is a Disney Twitter guy, and a buddy of mine. I've gone to the parks a couple of times with him, but he's been getting super, super into Game Boy, and Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Player on the GameCube. So he sent me some things. I just did my pickups video for VG, or no, not my pickups, my VGM video, and this was in my VGM video. It was like these things came within days of each other, but it is Pac-Man for the Game Boy Color. That's really cool. This is the copy I'm going to keep because it came from a good friend, and so I appreciate that, and I'm really thankful. He also sent me this. This I know is a repro, but it is a repro of something that did not come out in the States. It came out in Japan and Europe. It's a game called Trip World. I know it's about essentially it's a bunny kind of trying to save a very, very special flower. He tells me it's great. Read a lot of reviews that say it's great, and I'm really glad to get to check it out. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but I do want to say, like, the repro box and all this, like, I don't usually dive into repros that much, but this is really cool packaging. Like, they went all out, like, opening it up. There's posters, there's cards for the company that did the repro, but there's even an instruction manual. I guess it might be a reprint of the European one or whatever. But this looks like just an official Game Boy release, and I think that is so cool. So I look forward to checking that out. I picked up one thing for the Game Boy Advance, and I got it with kind of a rough label because I was able to get it for a pretty good price, and it's a game I've really wanted on the GBA just to check out for a while. And my thing with labels is generally I want my Super Nintendo and my Nintendo labels to be minty. Sega and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy, as long as I can generally read the title, I'm good, unless it has like a rip or tear. This has a little bit of ripping, but doesn't mess anything. But let's see, I don't know if you can see that, but it is Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the Game Boy Advance. this game is amazing. Crawfish Interactive did some amazing stuff on portables. The WWF Acclaim games, Street Fighter Alpha on the Game Boy Color, while it doesn't have multiplayer, is a phenomenal port. It is amazing what they were able to do with the Game Boy Color in terms of making Street Fighter Alpha. And this is just mind-blowing. Like, I love Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super Nintendo. I shouldn't say I love. It's amazing to me that they got it there, but you can definitely tell there's some hang-ups and things missing. There's that weird pause after it says fight before you actually start fighting. But this port just outshines it. I know the GBA is probably a little bit more powerful than the Super Nintendo. There's definitely things missing. It's definitely a skimmed-down port, but it looks great. It plays great. The character models and animations look great. They're missing the announcer's voice, so you have to read the screen for it to tell you fight. But it is an amazing thing, and it's really sad. Like Crawfish Interactive, like I said, they did some amazing stuff on handhelds. I wish they were still around. This game actually killed them. They didn't get it. They ran into some delays and didn't get it out on time, which hurt them financially. But I'd be really curious to know, see what they would doing now that, the Switch is one of the prominent gaming things, and it's primarily a mobile console. Of course, I got that. I got on a Street Fighter kick, and I ordered Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the original PlayStation. I got it as the greatest hits copy, and I'm weird. And I know I'm weird in this, but I actually like the greatest hits packaging on the PlayStation. That weird neon green and red. It's one of the things that cues up nostalgia for me, because being a teenager, and when this was coming out, I mean, not I think 13, 14. It was easier to save up for Green Label games and get them and check them out. I discovered Twisted Metal 2 because it was a Green Label game. And I just have such a place in my heart for these, and I love the Street Fighter series. I love the Street Fighter Alpha series. I played this game a lot back in the day. I just had to pick this up when I picked up the Game Boy Advance copy, so I got a copy of Street Fighter Alpha 3. And I realized there was a hole in one of my collections. There's 2 holes, and I've filled them. And I did not have an original version, and I know this is the director's cut, but I did not have a copy of the original Resident Evil. I had a copy of the remake for GameCube, but I never have played the actual original version that appeared on PlayStation and Sega Saturn. And so I found this for fairly cheap, and once again, one of those cool PlayStation greatest hits games, and so I'm glad to have this in the collection finally. And they upgraded the greatest hits version with dual shock support, so there's nifty vibration when you experience zombies. So that's pretty cool, but glad to have a copy of the original Resident Evil in the collection. And it made me realize I had a copy of every game in the mainline Resident Evil series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, Code Veronica, 5, 7. But I didn't have a copy of 6, and I know 6 is kind of debated about how good it is and whatnot, but it was super cheap, so I picked up a copy of Resident Evil 6 for the Xbox 360. I haven't played this one yet, don't know anything about it, but glad to have it in the collection, glad to have at least a straight run of the mainline Resident Evil games in some form or the other. So that's cool. Look forward to playing that in the collection. Retro Mikey, one of my favorite YouTubers. I'll put another link to him in the comment section below. Did a really cool look at his Xbox collection, and I've got to stop watching his videos where he does that, because I always then end up feel like I need to go to eBay and pick something up. But I've been thinking in terms of zombies and cars a lot lately for one reason or the other, and the movie Land of the Dead. And he talked about this game Blood Drive in his Xbox 360 collection. And it's basically kind of a car combat game with zombies added in. So it's kind of like Twisted Metal. There's just an added zombie factor. It plays pretty well. I'm still getting used to it. I haven't played it a lot, but I played a little bit of it and enjoyed it. Graphics are really good for an Xbox 360 game. The cars and the characters feel very, very Twisted Metal-y. But it's a cool game, and I'm glad he pointed it out because it was kind of a hidden gem, and it was fairly cheap, and I'm glad I picked it up. Another YouTuber I love to watch their content is Linda, aka the Gamer Girl, and she did a Xbox 360 collection, and she reminded me that they had done a lot of triple packs towards the end of the system's life. And one of the triple packs I have wanted for a long time was this kind of indie game, Limbo, Trials HD, and Splosion Man. I had a good friend of mine when I worked at a play-in trade who picked this up from our bargain bin and then played Splosion Man for a super, super long time. And this is a really cheap compilation. It's just one disc. But I found it, and I'm just super, super stoked to have it in the collection. This is just an awesome set of games. Splosion Man is awesome. Of course, Limbo, everyone knows, is awesome. And Trials is fun. Like, Trials is just a fun kind of try to figure out puzzle racing game. I always feel like it's kind of a weird evolution of Excite Bike. So really love having this in the collection, and it is a super fun, super cheap, great pack of games. But that, there were, like I said, there are a bunch of triple packs that came out towards the end of the console's life. And I picked up another one. Square Enix put out 2 different triple packs, but this is the one I picked up from them, and that's the Ultimate Action triple pack. It has Just Cause 2, Sleeping Dogs, and Tomb Raider 2013. Tomb Raider 2013 is one of my favorite games of all time. I adore the reboot of that series. I have an odd little tick in that I have Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox One, and I have Tomb Raider 2013 on PlayStation 3. And so I kind of have a weird take with that small of a series, I kind of want them on the same platform-ish. And I was like, and I could never find Tomb Raider, bargain basement cheap, and I just, hard to justify buying another copy of a game just because you're having a weird tick. But it comes in this awesome triple pack, and so now I have it on an Xbox platform, and I really think these are really cool packs. I did want to show the disc. The disc that they print for these, usually when you find packs or box sets, they are discs from old unsold previous editions of the games, but these were specifically printed for these triple packs. So I'm glad to have that. Like I said, Tomb Raider, one of my favorite games of all time. Do not know anything about Just Cause 2 or Sleeping Dogs, but friends I've talked to have told me they are awesome, so I can't wait to play them. So that brings us to the Xbox One. One of the things I picked up, it was super cheap on Amazon, and I really need to learn to stop following Wario64 on Twitter and checking out what he says, because generally puts out deals, and occasionally I just impulse buy, and I need to stop doing that. But I got really, really cheap from Amazon on Onimusha Warlord Edition for the Xbox One re-release game from Capcom from their PlayStation 2 era. This was a game that was originally one of the prototypes for Resident Evil 4. It was one of the discarded prototypes, and they then decided to make a different game series based on that prototype. And they did the same thing with Devil May Cry. These were both ideas for Resident Evil 4 that eventually they went with a different prototype altogether that made the series an action game series. But looking forward to playing this on the Xbox One. Another game I've been curious about for a long time on the Xbox One. It's also on PlayStation 4, but it was super cheap on Xbox One. We Happy Few. Really cool dystopian, very British, kind of Bioshocky. Cool game. I've always loved the aesthetic. It's by Compulsion, which is now a Microsoft game studio. So it will be interesting to see what they do in the future. But I've been very curious about this game, and this was under $10. So I was really glad to pick it up. Look forward to checking it out. And another game that is super cheap. I know it's not super well regarded in the series, but Borderlands 3, I think, was less than $15 at one point in all of this. And I love the Borderlands series. And so while I wasn't going to pay full price for a game that a lot of people had kind of already bagged on, I was going to wait for it to drop. It dropped, and it dropped way past what I thought I would pick it up for. So, and I really like the shininess and the color. That reminds me of like 1990s comic books. So glad to add Borderlands 3 in the collection. And I got a Xbox game. Now, of course, it is a Xbox game that plays on the Xbox One, and that is Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Really cool series. They just did a run of these for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 by Limited Run Games. But I just figured I'd pick this up because it was like $10 instead of, paying the $30 to get a Switch copy. I'm kind of okay with that. I don't need everything on Switch. So pick this up. I now have Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Academy on Xbox. Those are really good Star Wars games. All right. And the one Switch thing I've picked up, got through GameStop. And it is in a GameStop gross case. But I was okay with that. As you saw in my last GameStop challenge, ordering from GameStop.com kind of run the risk if you're ordering pre-owned that you're going to get one of these cases. But they do deals of the day, and they've had some really good ones. They've had some ones that have been hard to pass up, but they've finally marked down the price on a game I've wanted for the Nintendo Switch to a place where it was okay getting it, and okay getting it if it came in one of these cases. And that is Octopath Traveler. I'm a huge role-playing game fan, huge Square Enix JRPG fan, and this looks to be a throwback to the old school style from the SNES and the PlayStation. Disc or cartridges right there. Like I said, it was I think $30, which this game has not dropped at all, and it is several years old at this point. But the graphics look really, really cool. It's what they call HD 2D. Really cool, different style and multi-layering. I just cannot wait to get into this. I'm waiting to get full into this when I finish Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I'm really close to doing. So, Octopath Traveler. And the rest of everything I got was on PlayStation 4. I think I'm going to switch this up. Go with this one. These two first. They have recently put a lot of their PlayStation hits stuff on sale for about $10, and so I picked up two games that I kind of already had. And I will say, I think the lime green on the original PlayStation for their greatest hits stuff was way better than the red that they later adopted for PlayStation 2 and onward. But I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition. I had Horizon Zero Dawn, but I did not have the DLC, and since it was a physical copy with the DLC, and $10, which is what the DLC would be, figured I'd pick it up that way. And I had a digital copy of this game very early on, but this was so cheap, and a lot of radars right now because the sequel's coming out. But I picked up a cheap copy of The Last of Us Remastered. Captain Algebra recently did a pickups video of his, and he talked about a couple of games he'd gotten cheap and a kind of lower or smaller developer, smaller publisher, and went online, and the game that he showed that interested me was $8, so I picked it up, and it's called Flipping Death. It just looks really cool. The graphics have a really unique style. I cannot wait to play that. And coming up on the final two games, I have gotten really into the Yakuza series for the PlayStation 4. I've been playing through Zero and Kiwami and doing research on those and learning about the developer. And so, of course, I picked up the spin-off because it dropped in price, Judgment, which is set in the Yakuza universe, and looking forward to playing that. And the developer also did a licensed game using their engine and their tech for the anime manga Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise, which I don't know anything about, but the graphics look cool. And like I said, I fell in love with the Yakuza series and the developer. So I look forward to getting to that especially once I get done with Final Fantasy VII and the other Yakuza games. So that does it. Let me know what you think of my pickups. If you know anything about the games I've showed, let me know. I like learning. I hope you're having a great day. I hope y'all continue to stay safe, my friends. If you like what you saw, make sure to hit the like button and give me a subscribe. And I will catch you on the next one, my friends. Peace.